What's up, everyone? You are Go for Grundy. I am Grundy, and with me, as always, is my Rocky quoting sidekick, Jay. How's it going, Jay?
Up, guys? Good, good. So
Yeah.
we're going for three. We're going for three tonight. We got
My
inspired with the
God.
last two. We were disciplined. We were like, you know what? We're going to make a video. And then we're like, okay, you know what? That one went really well. We're just going to squirt out another one. And now we're squirting out another one. I looked for something that was also short, and it's also something that is kind of relevant with today's pop culture. And I really like to focus on that because I think that it's absolutely toxic. And I like to give my commentary on that and my insights um,
Awesome.
about
And
that kind of stuff. So
just for you mofos watching, the same cup of coffee I was drinking in yesterday's video, still hot in my hands. Magic.
all right, so
So, what
this
are
is
we
this is
watching? What's the thesis
this
of
is
the video that we're about to watch?
I don't even remember it, to be honest with you. I just know that it's about well, it's a warning to influencers. It's the after school series. The guy who
Ooh.
does that, like the guy who does like the drawings. He basically animates or illustrates like in this big like he just does this massive illustration as someone is narrating. So he finds something where someone is narrating and they've made some really insightful or profound commentary about something, and he just animates it with his whiteboard with
Alrighty.
colored markers. So
Okay.
this is a really good series, by the way. You guys should check out After School. It's really good.
It
But
reminds me
this
of
one is called
Sesame
this
Street
one
and
is
stuff like that. Did stuff like
this
that.
one's
It's
called,
cool.
I don't know if you've ever seen this before, but After School is great. They have a lot of good stuff, and it's always something that's usually kind of like profound. But this one is called Audience Capture: How Influencers Become Brainwashed by Their Audiences. So we're going to give this a watch.
This after-school presentation was written and recorded by Gawinda. In 2016, 24-year-old Nicholas Perry wanted to be big
Nikocado.
online. He started uploading videos to his YouTube channel in which he pursued his passion,
Yeah, I don't know.
playing the violin, and
You don't know Nikocado Avocado?
No.
Okay, search a picture of him on so you can see it on your OBS right now, just to show the audience what he looks like now, because that was what he used to look like.
Okay.
And this is
What am I Googling?
example. Nikocado Avocado. Niko Cado.
Oh my God.
Yeah, this is what his audience did to him. This is what happened to this guy.
Oh my God.
And he I think he has an OnlyFans or something too, where he does he's gay and he fucks his boyfriend and whatever, and he's extremely obese, and he's just he's become this super obnoxious character, and it's just because that's what gets him views. And so this is what we're watching now is how he started. So
I quit.
he was a
I
he
quit.
was a
Sorry,
viol-
I quit. I'm done.
he,
I'm done.
he was a violinist, and he was a talented violinist. And this is what happened to him over the course of his YouTube career, because it started with him posting videos of him playing music, and he was a talented violinist.
extolled the virtues of veganism.
Yeah,
went
he was a
largely
vegan.
unnoticed. A year later, he abandoned veganism, citing health concerns. Now free to eat whatever he wanted, he began uploading mukbang videos of himself consuming various dishes while talking.
Okay, so you missed the part where so he started he started as a vegan, and so
Ah!
no, stop it, get back here. So he started posting videos about veganism, and he went largely unnoticed, and then he quit veganism after a year. But he started originally he started posting videos of him playing violin. He's a very talented violinist, a very talented musician.
Okay.
And he was a vegan, and so he wanted to be big online, so he was doing vlogs and stuff like that. He'd post stuff about music and veganism, and I guess he just said about a year into it, he quit veganism, citing health concerns. And so now, free to eat whatever he wanted, he started uploading mukbangs. So he's this is what happened to him. Watch.
Into the camera, as if having dinner with a friend. These new videos quickly found a sizable audience.
And look at the way that he would talk to the camera. You can see his mannerisms and stuff like that, and he just became a complete caricature. If you see how he behaves now, and it's really sad.
But as the
Okay,
audience
got it.
grew, so did their demands. The comment sections of the videos soon became filled with people challenging Perry to eat as much as he
Can
physically
you
could.
just shut the fuck up?
Eager to please, he began to set
Can you eat
himself
ice cream next
torturous
time?
eating challenges. each bigger than the last.
Oh my god.
His audience applauded, but always demanded more. Soon, he was filming himself
2.3
eating entire
million
menus of fast
views.
food restaurants in one sitting. In some respects, all his eating paid off. Nikocado Avocado, as Perry is now better known, has amassed over 6 million subscribers across 6 channels on YouTube. By satisfying the escalating demands of his audience, he got his wish of blowing up and being big online. But the cost was that he blew up and became big in ways he hadn't anticipated.
Look at the way he acts now.
Nikocado, moulded by his audience's desires into a cartoonish extreme, is now a wholly different character from Nicholas Perry,
Complete
the
caricature.
vegan violinist who first started making videos. Where Perry was mild-mannered and health-conscious, Nikocado is loud, abrasive, and spectacularly grotesque. Where Perry was a picky eater, Nikocado devoured everything he could, including, finally, Perry himself. The rampant appetite for attention caused a person to be subsumed by the persona.
Yeah.
We often talk of captive audiences, regarding the performer as hypnotizing the viewers. But just as often, it's the viewers hypnotizing the performer.
Yeah.
This disease, of which Perry is but one victim of many, is known as audience capture,
Terminal
and it is
grifting.
essential to understanding influencers in particular and the online ecosystem in general.
Well, because this is a very strange and unprecedented time where people have direct access or have direct connections with their audiences on these platforms, and it's like it's an attention-based economy. This is a weird late-stage capitalism thing where people are they literally they're paid for views. The more of your attention they can capture, the more of the minutes they can the seconds that they can capture your attention, they're getting monetized for this stuff. So it's like people are just going to
Whatever gets in the views, whatever gets in the views, whatever gets in the clicks.
Conform to whatever method, whatever format is getting them the most engagement from their.
It used to be
audience.
we'd take the prettiest girl in town, dress her up, make her look real pretty, then we'd bring her up a ladder and throw her in the volcano. This is just the same thing. It's the same fucking thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's kind of. Well, no, it's not. I wouldn't say it's necessarily the same thing. It is in a way, I guess. But like, if you think about like what they did to like Britney Spears and
That's
like
exactly who I was thinking about.
Yeah, well,
Exactly.
they make them fucking crazy. It's like you build them up into this this monument of like fucking of an idol, and then you tear them down, and it's just like it's kind of what's going on now, and it's like. But in this case, they're playing into it knowingly, and it's still like even though there's a self-awareness that's present in what Nikocado is doing. Obviously what he's doing is a performance, but it's still taking its toll. He's still playing into it, and it's still destroying his health, and it's completely transformed his life.
He grifted himself into an early grave.
Well, he's not dead yet, but yeah.
Oh no? Okay, well he's not far off.
Audience capture is an irresistible
Also,
force
don't forget to like and subscribe, everybody.
world of influencing, because it's not just a conscious process but also an unconscious one.
Yeah.
While it may ostensibly appear to be a simple case of influencers making a business decision to create
An
more of the
OnlyFans,
content
man.
they believe audiences want, and then being
That's
incentivized by engagement numbers
makes
to
me
remain in
sick.
this niche forever.
I mean, he's not wrong.
I really wish that the audience would have. I wish that the audience would have the sense of obligation as well, like knowing what they're feeding into, and like that's why there was a while ago when Chris D'Elia, and I'm probably going to reference this again because it's relevant to like one of the speeches that I'm working on, but where Chris D'Elia started this thing which I really wish had taken off. It was called the unfollowing. He was trying to hashtag the unfollowing and start this thing where it's like all of these fucking thoughts who are just exploiting people's biology, posting excessively over-sexualized bullshit with absolutely no substance. It produces nothing of value. It says there's zero insight, there's zero value being produced with this type of content. But he's like, just stop following these girls. Stop following. You're giving them power, and you're basically destroying them because like, you're destroying yourself as well because like you're essentially building a pattern of behavior wherein like you're searching for this type of content, you're telling the algorithm to show you more of it, and you're going to engage with it. And it's like, just stop paying attention to these people. It's not good for them, and it's not good for you, and it's not good for society, because what happens when you have these girls who are just doing this type of bullshit, that they're opening their fucking ass cheeks with a string. You can see the brown on either side of the string. You can tell exactly where their asshole is. The only thing that you're missing, that you're not able to see, is the actual opening of the vagina. It's like you can see their vulva, you can see everything, and it's like you have 18-year-old girls doing this. And what do you think they're getting 500,000, 1 million followers? What do you think is going to happen? There's countless 15 and 16-year-old girls out there who are like, I can't wait till I hit 18, because the only thing that's stopping them from reducing the bar for morality and for whatever, like,
is the fact that it's a crime.
Is the law, because we don't have a value system anymore, that we depend on the law, and the law is not fucking, it's not protecting us.
But at the same time, I'm gonna advocate for the 16-year-old girl for a moment. Now, what do you do when this poor 16-year-old girl looks around and sees the only girls in her grade that get any attention from any of the boys are the ones that are posting their fucking ass cracks on fucking Twitch?
Yes. But it's
like
what
are we supposed to tell those girls, those 16-year-old girls? Because like really, what we're telling them right now is show your own ass crack. That's what we're telling them, and that's not what we should be telling them.
That's exactly my point. And I want people to try to struggle with this for a second. Would you want your little sister doing this? Would you want your daughter doing this?
No.
Would you want that? Why not? Ask yourself why. Why would you not want that?
Because the women in my life are not whores.
But what's the problem with that? If your little sister or someone that you care about, if it's too good for them, why is it not too good for some stranger on the internet? Why don't you have the discipline or the self-respect or the dignity to say, you know what, I'm going to report this content because it's distasteful, it's unsophisticated, it's lazy, and it's producing nothing of value. It's in fact, it's exploitative, and it's hurting us.
Twitch, the providers of this pornography, which I will call pornography.
That's the thing.
Twitch, the pornography website.
Let me just interject this one point, is that this is becoming mainstream now. So where there used to be social repercussions, there used to be stigma regarding this type of behavior. Now people are doing this on platforms, and because it's an attention-based economy and these people are getting paid and they're getting showered with adulation, it's becoming normalized, and it's made its way onto these mainstream platforms that are used by little children. Go ahead.
Yeah, guys, cam girls on Pornhub are way cheaper. They'll do anything you want. They'll shout your name while they fucking do it. Like, there's no point.
I'm not advocating for that either.
I'm saying that to make a point. I'm not saying you should go do it. What I'm doing is I'm making a point, right? Like,
yeah, but Instagram's free, eh? Instagram is free. They can follow these accounts for free, so it's not like...
You're missing the point of what I'm saying, right? I'm saying
Twitch
is a fucking pornography website with full of cam girls, okay?
Yeah.
And I'm saying, it's way more expensive and you're getting less of what you want. If what these men want from fucking Twitch is what we think it is, which I'm pretty sure we're right, they can literally just go on Pornhub, get the same thing cheaper, and get it more refined to their taste for less money. Like... That's
but there's something about going on to Pornhub where the stigma is still there. They're going to a pornography site, but that's not present when they're going onto a site like Twitch. They're looking at somebody who is famous. They're looking. This is an influencer. It's different in their mind. When it isn't. In their mind. In reality, it's not different.
Yeah.
But they get off on this idea that they're interacting with somebody who is famous. Not as a porn star, but somebody who is an influencer, and it's like, oh, I have a connection with somebody who isn't stigmatized, and it's like, and they're walking this tightrope line when in fact there's very little differentiating it. Mm-hmm. There's very, very little. And I mean, these girls playing with themselves on Twitch live stream, getting a 24-hour ban. Literally, the girls masturbating. One opens her ass cheeks, and like they're getting tiny slaps on the wrist. And in the end, their following is being magnified. That it's only helping their careers on these platforms because they're not actually dealing with repercussions. It's benefiting them. They're incentivized to do this.
Okay, well, I'm telling you right now, okay? It's happened, like, there's that one girl that had the S word, like, literally live on stream twice. She got banned, came back, had S on stream, and then got banned again. And then, now there's this other one who last week was banned for playing with herself. It exploded, right? So right now, what are we doing? We're
incentivizing.
We're incentivizing girls to fuck on Twitch. That is what we're doing. That is literally what is happening in real time.
And we're allowing these platforms to get away with it, to let them get away with it because it's good for all of them. They're all getting paid. They're all getting those advertising dollars. And I don't understand how this happened where our line for what is moral is socially acceptable, what is moral, and what is tolerable. I mean, these are platforms being used by fucking children, and I'm gonna like this was something I was planning on bringing up like in a completely different episode, but it's been a while now and it hasn't come up. But my stepmother is a teacher. She teaches.
Oh no,
kindergarten.
I know this story. Oh god.
She teaches.
Wait! Trigger warning! Trigger warning! Trigger warning! Really bad shit about to happen. If you're sensitive to anything, I recommend you skip to.
I mean,
this timestamp.
So, one of her colleagues who teaches, she's also a kindergarten teacher, but one of her colleagues, they were having a nap time, and all the little kids were laying down, whatever. Some of them were taking naps, whatever. It was quiet time. The lights are out and everything. And so the teacher hears something, and she gets up to look at what's going on, and there's a 5-year-old girl giving a literally to a 5-year-old boy. And it's like these kids, like they're so exposed to sexual content that like this isn't something that came up on her own. She obviously learned this behavior somewhere. Was it on a platform like Twitch? Maybe not. Maybe it was from somebody in her life. Maybe she was being abused. But the point I'm trying to make is that
I think it's probably more likely because
but the point is, and this is an extreme example of a 5-year-old, but a 12, 13-year-old. They're going to see this type of stuff. They're going to indulge. They don't have the mental infrastructure. They don't have the personality to be able to understand the deeper implications and the consequences of this type of action. And neither, for that matter, do 18 or 19-year-olds who, once they come of age, they start spreading their ass cheeks on the internet. And it's like, and going back to my point in the speech I did where I was talking about how a lot of people agree with Tate. We're depending the future of human civilization, of at least in the West, because other people are a lot more conservative in other countries. Other populations in other countries, particularly of other races, are much more conservative. But Western civilization, the future of Western civilization depends on these women, these young women of today, willingly taking on the role of motherhood while they're being injected artificially and being manipulated, I would say, with ideas that like we need to honor women, and we need to celebrate women who choose not to be mothers. We need to honor getting that bag and the YOLO lifestyle and just fuck it, I'm living my best life. But I mean, you can't come out of that without baggage. Like, these things are going to take their toll on you. They are going to affect the way that you view other people when you're attracting all of this fucked up sexual attention and energy from men. It's going to skew the way that they're not going to be able to form normal relationships with men because of this. They're going to see all men as this. And also, it's going to affect the way that men view them as nothing more than sexual fucking objects, because that's what they're doing at the end of the day, is they're objectifying themselves, and they're engaging in what is by definition an exploitative relationship, where they are exploiting other people's their biology, their sexual frustrations for attention, and they're monetizing that. It's a transactional bullshit fucking system, and that's not how society can work. If we're all treating each other like nodes to be mined, and like, what can I get from you? It's like, we need to cooperate, we need to work together, and we need to have healthy relationships for the future of mankind to have, at least in the West, like I said, for the future of Western civilization to have any fucking chance. We need to be able to have meaningful and healthy relationships. And this is not that. This is not conducive to that at all. It reduces us to objects and transactions, and it's fucked up. It really is.
So it would be fair to say you're boiled right now.
Dude, this boils me like nothing else. Like that video, like I reported it and I sent it to my friends to report it, but there's one video in particular that
never admit that on fucking camera.
No, I took that I reported it.
Yeah, that you advised other people to report things of a term of violation of terms. I gotta cut it. Yeah, it's an actual term violation.
No, but well, I mean, whatever. Like, it was on I was like, look, this is completely tasteless and this is completely inappropriate. It's on a platform that's used by children. This is a 19-year-old girl with 500,000 subscribers and followers, whatever, on Instagram, and what she's doing is horrible. It is completely repulsive, and it's gaming our biology. She's an attractive, young, fertile woman, and so of course it's going to have the reaction that you'd expect it to have. But I reported it. I sent it to other people who also reported it. So I expect it to be probably taken down. But I took a screen record video of it so that I could post it up afterwards. And now we're gonna have to blur a lot of stuff out because literally the string that she was wearing when she spread her fucking legs and like opened her ass in front of the camera literally was like inside of her labia. Like her labia were touching with the string inside. So I mean there was more vagina than there was
Vagina
anything.
floss. Okay, I gotcha.
But I mean like this is the type of shit that triggers me more than anything else. Just to say that, like, okay, I'm boiled. Yeah, I'm fucking boiled. This is an existential threat for the fucking future of humanity. We are witnessing the absolute collapse of social cohesion and the normalization of social interactions, which are completely antithetical to our ability to function in a healthy manner and form meaningful relationships. And again, we're reducing ourselves to objects and transactions, and it's absolutely fucking, it has horrible implications for the future.
Still got 5 minutes and 30 seconds left.
Anyway, and that was just because I saw OnlyFans on this fucking.
It's actually deeper.
No
than
shit.
that.
It's
It
deeper than
involves
that.
the gradual and unwitting replacement of a person's identity with one custom made for the audience. To understand how, we must consider how people...
Again, it's views, right? Like they're gonna do what gets them views, and they like as depraved as they can be, even if they're self-awareness and they're playing that role and they're playing this little Barbie doll, whatever, they become that. There's a subconscious element, like he said.
People come to define themselves. A person's identity is being constantly refined, so it needs constant feedback. That feedback typically comes from
That's
other
one of the
people,
reasons I'm kind of glad that we
not
do
so
a
much by
two-man
what
show
they
and
say
not a
they
one-man
see, as
show.
by what we think they
Because
see.
if we like, that's
We
powerful
develop
fucking
our
force, man.
personalities by imagining
Giving the
ourselves
audience what it
through others'
wants.
eyes.
Well, especially like I mean, if we were actually getting shitloads of views.
Yeah,
Like,
well,
but like I said, I for me this is a question of principle. Like the reason I'm doing this is not to give the audience what they want, it's to give them what they fucking need. And I hope that there's enough people out there that are going to resonate with the message, that they're going to have they're going to be like, you know what, I want to hear more of what these guys have to say, and they're going to want to like, follow, and try to share the message, because it's fucking important that we hear this. Literally, like I said, it's an existential threat.
Using their borrowed gazes like mirrors to dress ourselves. Just as lacking a mirror to dress ourselves leaves us dishevelled, so lacking other people's eyes to refine our personalities leaves us uncouth. This is why those raised in isolation become feral humans, adopting the character of beasts.
A good
how
point.
do we know
Put
that?
simply, in order to be someone, we need someone to be someone.
Because there have been like people who were like literally raised by, there was like a girl that was like raised by wolves, and she basically acted like a dog. There's like it's happened before where people like they basically
I thought that was just a fiction
No, they become-
story. Like I
No,
thought that.
there's real examples of this, but like they become socialized by the tribe that they become a part of, right? So like they're being socialized based on a dog society, you know what I mean, like a
like-
canine society. Their values are and you know their self-perception, their self-awareness is completely different. So this girl had no self-awareness. You know, she had no ability to view herself through the eyes of another human because she wasn't socialized that way.
Someone to be someone for.
It's like a soldier.
Our
World War
personalities
II was
develop as
lost
a
in
role
the
we perform
island
for
for
other
40
people,
years, and he thought the
fulfilling
war
the
was still going.
expectations we think they have
Yeah.
of us. The American sociologist Charles Cooley dubbed this phenomenon the looking glass self. Evidence for it is diverse, and includes the everyday experience of seeing ourselves through imagined eyes in social situations, otherwise known as the spotlight effect. The tendency for people to alter their behaviour when in the presence of pictures of eyes, otherwise known as the watching eye effect, and the tendency for people in virtual spaces to adopt.
I want to mention this as well. Like this is an idea that I've had about the conception of God. Like at what point in human history we conceived of the idea of God as an external consciousness, an external awareness that was watching us. So think about and I've never heard anyone talk about this, but what type of effect that would have had on our social evolution from that point on, where we thought that we were being watched and judged by someone outside. If you walk into a room and you see there's a camera there, your behavior will be different than if that camera was not there. So just think about that. Think about that. You're in essence, you're judging yourself, like you're projecting onto this idea of God or whatever it was. You know, this external consciousness. You're projecting your own awareness. So you're essentially judging yourself.
Well, I mean, a lot of the time, I mean, I'm an atheist, right? So of course I have all the bad examples, but a lot of the nasty stuff that has happened through religion is just through the leader's lens, really. Like,
Look,
you know what I mean? Like this guy says
those
we shouldn't make the Bible in French. Well, let's go to war with France. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, these are like because it became an infrastructure, right? Like it became a power tower. It became an infrastructure of power and influence,
and it will
just
eventually become corrupt.
and that's the thing is like if you have to go through a certain hierarchy, the person at the top represents the power. That's your connection to the spiritual whatever spiritual entity that you're worshiping or whatever, right? So like if all of your if your relationship is being channeled through this one person, then that one person represents disproportionate power, and thereby inherently there's an incentive for someone to influence that character, to try to possess some of their influence. And it's the same thing with finance and government now. You know, it's a power structure, and there are always people trying to corrupt it, trying to get at the top, to try to get some of that power for themselves. And that's exactly what happened with the Catholic Church. But I mean, you know, there's a big reason why I don't agree with Catholicism, because it's a hierarchical worship structure, and it's inherently prone to this type of thing where, like, you know, again, like you're saying. Anyway,
the traits of their avatars in an attempt to fulfill expectations, otherwise known as the Proteus effect. When we lived in small, tight-knit communities, the Looking Glass self helped us to become the people our loved ones wanted us to be. The problem is, we no longer live solely among those we know well. We can only gauge who they are by what some of them post online. And what people post online is not indicative of who they really are.
It's unprecedented in our history.
Such, the people
it's a big experiment, though. Being performed on us in real time. Shut it down. Hashtag shut it down. 10 years. Touch grass.
Audience feedback.
The decade of grass.
Hashtag decade of grass receives the most attention and approval, which leads them to recalibrate their personalities according to far more extreme social cues than those they'd receive in real life. In doing this, they exaggerate the more idiosyncratic facets of their personalities, becoming crude caricatures of themselves.
Yeah,
the caricature quickly becomes the influencer's distinct brand, and all subsequent attempts by the influencer to remain on brand and fulfill audience expectations require
late-stage capitalism.
The caricature.
Yeah, you become a prisoner to it.
As the caricature becomes more familiar than the person, both to the audience and to the influencer, it comes to be regarded by both as the only honest expression of the influencer, so that any deviation from it soon looks and feels inauthentic. At that point, the persona has eclipsed the person, and the audience has captured the influencer. The old Greek legends tell of Narcissus, a youth.
And this is what we see on social media too, right? Like leave
Britney alone.
This is what we see on social media, and this is what it's doing to the minds of our fucking children. Is that, you know, they're developing these online personas that are basically a polished representation of their it's a highlight reel of their lives. It's not a genuine, and so it's so horrible for our minds.
Full of Photoshop pictures, and
everything is performative. And you know what's normal, what's commonplace is people that is people are looking at this highlight reel of other people's lives. There's a sense of competition that emerges, that it rewires the dopamine centers in your brain, where like, you know, like it literally is like a hard drug. It literally you're getting likes and you're getting interactions based on these pictures that you post, and that's telling you, it's feeding you, like it's producing a behavior pattern where you're incentivized to continue this type of behavior. And people looking at this, they compare their real lives to this, you know, this polished highlight reel, this curated version of other people's lives, and they feel like their lives don't measure up. And it's horrible. It's horrible for our fucking for our. Well, I mean, there's a reason why I uninstalled and like closed my social media accounts a while ago. I was just like, you know, like in 2017, I turned off my accounts. I've turned them back on periodically here and there.
A Twitter for the show, and that's it. I have my personal Facebook that I use to communicate with my family, and that's it.
Yeah, I use Messenger, and that's really about it. I mean, like, but yeah, it's just poisonous. And I mean, And like I was saying before, like since I reinstalled the app recently, Facebook and Instagram, I find myself clicking on it and I'm like, this is horrible for me because I just end up scrolling through and it just produces this. It's manufacturing attention deficit disorder because it's this dopamine hit when you watch a video, like a short highlight clip of a video that's like a minute or two long, and you watch something that is extraordinary and entertaining, and it's like, oh, I want to see more and more and more. And I found myself falling back into the same pattern of behavior. And this is somebody with the awareness that I have about how this is affecting me, and even me, like it's getting to me. So imagine the mind of a fucking child. Imagine, a 10, 11-year-old child who's doing the same thing. We need to keep this stuff away from our children. We need to treat it like a hard fucking drug, because that's exactly what it is.
So handsome he became besotted by his own reflection. Unable to look away from his image in the surface of the waters, he fell still forever, and was transformed by the gods into a flower. Similarly, as influencers glimpse their idealized online personas reflected back at them on screens, they too are in danger of becoming eternally besotted by how they appear, and in so doing, forgetting who they were, or could be. Yeah. This is the ultimate trapdoor in the Hall of Fame, to become a prisoner of one's own persona. The desire for recognition in an increasingly atomized world lures us to be who strangers wish us to be. And with personal development so arduous and lonely,
everything becomes a performance.
In crowdsourcing your identity. But amid such temptations, it's worth remembering.
And this is why, like, when I'm like, I don't like putting on like a super performative, intro, even though I know that's like, it's on some level it's required with what we're doing now, you know what I mean? But I really like to be genuine. I'm a very genuine person. I'm an emotional person. I wear my fucking heart on my sleeve. People can tell the way that I feel most of the time, just because I can't help but to talk about the things that are going on in my life. And I really hate putting on that type of fake bullshit. I like to be real in the way that I communicate. I like to be genuine, and I think that it resonates with.
I do it because it's funny.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
well, hi, giggity goo there, folks.
But there is a kind of a need to engage with an audience in that way, because that's just what we've come to expect. It's what drives some level of engagement. I mean, when it's done in a way that's self-aware and clever and funny enough, I mean, it's going to serve its purpose. But I mean, generally speaking, like, that's why, like, when I'm talking, I'm talking like I'm trying to be my genuine self, and I'm trying to convey my real emotions and my real thoughts in as concise and, well, not always concise.
I'm not to toot my own horn or anything, but I'm a pretty well trained actor, so there's no difference between authentic and inauthentic for me.
Oh God, that's horrible.
When you become who your audience expects at the expense of who you are.
And you definitely meant to toot your own horn.
For you,
yeah, I did. I totally did.
A character you'll eventually tire of. And so, be warned. Being someone often means being fake. And if you chase the approval of others, you may, in the end, lose the approval of yourself.
Exactly.
Wise words from a wise man.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of After School. If you found this subject interesting and want more, consider checking out my other writings at gowinder.substack.com. The link is in the description.
Good job, Gowinder.
Yeah, thanks, dude. We're gonna, I don't know how, when we start giving people money, we'll give him money.
It's profound and insightful, and
this guy's a smart guy.
It resonates.
A smart guy.
And I think that's something also that, like, when you hear something that is true, as uncomfortable as it is, a lot of the time when you hear something that is true, and especially when it's relevant to some personal experience that you've had in your life, it will resonate within you. There is something inside of us intuitively where we recognize truth, we recognize the insight in something, the validity of a statement, and we can, especially as we try to reflect and contrast that with our experiences. But if something hits you, if something sticks inside of you and is like, I feel changed after seeing that, usually there's an indication there that there's some lesson. Yeah, it struck a nerve. And if it's not immediately clear to you why, do yourself the service of investigating why. Ask yourself those questions. Like I said, if it's too good for your little sister or your daughter to be online pulling her ass cheeks apart, why is it not too good? Why can't you just report or choose not to see that type of content when it's somebody else's daughter or little sister? Ask yourself why. Why is it only unacceptable. Why
It's
is it only,
incestuous, maybe? I don't know.
why is no? Well, no, but it's not about that. It's not about whether or not you're getting off on that. It's not whether or not you're attracted to it. On some level, it is, but it's not about whether you're getting off on that. It's whether or not what you're watching is tasteful, and whether or not you would want that type of behavior. Again, this girl's safe behind a camera. She's not in any physical danger.
No.
She's getting attention and she's getting paid. But in the process, she's not learning any valuable life skills. She's getting rewarded for something that is lazy, unsophisticated, tasteless, and is exploitative. She's not contributing any value. She's not going to develop an actual character. She gets an inflated sense of self-worth and ego. She thinks she's the queen of the world because everyone's telling her that. And people need to learn valuable skills. People say that that a woman's value is more than her youth and her beauty, which of course it is. But there's a reason why these 18-year-old girls who are willing to do the most crass and degenerate and decadent type of, that are willing to employ these types of behaviors, why they're getting as much attention as they're getting. But the truth of the matter is her life isn't going to end, when she's 23, 24, 25 and she becomes old news. By the time she hits 30, 35 and, there's 100,000 other 18-year-old girls willing to do what she did and worse, no one's going to pay attention to her anymore. And her sense of self-worth and value and her character are all going to suffer as a result of the loss of attention, because that's what she's built her value on.
And one day the views will go, and then so will your self-worth.
Exactly. And that's why it's important to actually to cultivate those values beyond just those basic things. Because that's we want to say that people like to say that, okay, a woman's value is more than that. Then encourage these women to stop basing their entire value on that.
If you're a guy in the audience and you do subscribe to Twitch girls and shit,
unfollow.
Let us know exactly what percent of that money that you send is it for her intellect or her bubbly personality or whatever, and how much is for her boobies.
Whether or not she's got anything of value, any insights or anything that's interesting or engaging beyond just the fact that you're biological, you're being triggered biologically by what is obviously a fertile young woman, and your balls are heavy and you're lonely and sexually frustrated, disenfranchised. It's like
hashtag shut it down, hashtag decade of
unfollow,
hashtag unfollow.
If you see something that is inappropriate for a child to see, if you wouldn't want your 10-year-old to watch it, and it's on a platform that is open to a 10-year-old, and even if it's you have to be 18 to view the content, if all they have to do is click a button and say I'm 18, it's not in the right place.
My friend, okay, he has a 4-year-old, so he has YouTube Kids playing all day on his fucking TV.
You want your 5-year-old blowing other 5-year-old during nap time?
He sent me a video, and the video, it wasn't sexual, but it was overtly political, okay? And it snuck its way into the YouTube Kids, okay? And it's not overtly political in the way you think. It's overtly political on the side that people would stick us in, okay? And even then, I'm like, this has no business being in the fucking YouTube Kids section. I flagged it. Even though it supports my own fucking politics. Because it has no business being in a fucking playlist for 4-year-olds.
Have the dignity, intellectual honesty, and the discipline to to realize and do your best to help restore the social stigma for children being targeted for messages that are inappropriate for them.
The internet is not a babysitter. You still have to be a parent, even though it's easy to not be.
You even more necessary to be a
100%, 100%.
Because there's more there.
Because now the strangers are not in the street; they're in your fucking house. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Hashtag shut it down. Hashtag decade of grass. Hashtag go for Grundy. Anything else you want to say, Jay?
Hashtag unfollow that shit. Be better. Do it. Do yourself a favor. Do the world a favor. Unfollow that shit. Report it. Fucking restrict it. Don't allow it to be fucking. Don't allow yourself to be used for views. Okay.
Until next time.